Saving you time, washing and waxing your ride.
Hi, I'm Ivan.
I'm Nick.
And this is DIY Detail. Today we're going to wash, decontaminate, polish, and wax this beautiful Corvette. It's gonna be quick, it's gonna be easy.
We're not gonna use a hose, we're not gonna use a pressure washer.
No.
And we're not going to waste your time.
So let's start by applying some rinseless wash to the surface. We're using a keg. You can use anything you want for that. There's actually a video link down below on different strategies of applying rinseless to your surface.
Well, I guess as I do this, what is rinseless wash, Ivan LaCroix?
So rinseless wash is a powerful cleaner that is safe on all exterior surfaces. We're letting it dwell, emulsify, and pick up the dirt. Then we go over it with a sponge. This vehicle barely had dust on it. I know you keep telling us we only clean clean cars. You're right this time. But the principles are the same. And if you have a nice weekend toy like this, you're probably not going off-roading with it either. So we've got the rinseless wash on the surface. Let me grab my bucket.
Usually Ivan LaCroix always tells me less is more. I'm overusing the product, but because we're not using a hose, I'm gonna err on the side of a little more rinseless wash. I wanna make sure every surface is nice and lubricated. Ivan, as usual, I'm overdoing it.
Yep.
And in our rinseless wash keg, which could be a sprayer dunked in your rinseless wash bucket, all we're doing is making sure the dilution ratio is 256:1. So that's 1 capful per gallon, that's 1 ounce per 2 gallons of water. It's a very simple to use method, and by the time I'm done explaining it, Ivan, you're probably gonna be done cleaning the car.
Yeah, 4 milliliters to a liter. So basically, that is definitely an area where more is not better. Follow the dilution ratios. You'll be much happier in the end.
When can I get away with not using a hose with my rinseless wash process?
Well, like this vehicle, it was just dusty. It's garage kept. It hangs around in the garage. It gets driven once in a while. Unfortunately, not enough as far as I'm concerned. But anyways, to me, if you're gonna have a car like this, drive it.
Are you putting pressure on your wash sponge, Ivan?
No pressure whatsoever. So this is a good candidate for a quick rinseless wash. This actually would have been a candidate for waterless wash too.
What about the idea of using your black side and your red side on the same panel?
You can do that if you know there's a lot of dirt on the surface.
But as you just said, there's not a lot of dirt on the surface.
No.
You're a Corvette fan, Ivan. What are you noticing as you go around the car?
It's a nice shape, it's straight, seems to have original paint so far.
How can you tell? That's a good question. Like, how do I know if it's original paint or if it's been repainted?
By looking at it, but you have to have a sort of a trained eye for that.
Well, that's very helpful for the person sitting at home.
There's nothing you can do other than learn. So, and this video is not the place to learn that. It takes years to figure it out. For the roof, this is the one time where we go past the verge of dripping and actually want a nice wet sponge. We want to flood the fabric. And we're going to let it sit there while we do the rest on the vehicle and come back and dry it afterwards, because I want the rinseless wash to emulsify as much as possible of any of that dust that's in that fabric weave to get it out of there.
So a sponge on the cloth top, huh?
Yeah,
And you said you wanted it real wet.
nice and wet. Let yourself go this time, Nick,
That is so rare.
because we want to flood the top.
It seems like they have some protection on here. It's beating up a little bit.
A little bit, yeah.
A well-maintained Corvette.
Very well maintained. Next, the decontamination towel. I'm using the rinseless as my lubricant. I don't need anything else. Now, if we had a hose, we would be using iron remover or something like that. Or if we just wanted to do a quick wash and seal, we could use our good friend ceramic gloss as the lubricant.
Right, we don't always need iron remover.
No.
This isn't the last time this paint will ever be touched. It's not as if we're sealing this in time forever. especially with the idea that we're putting a wax on here.
Yeah.
This is a really non-aggressive way of enhancing the vehicle's appearance.
Yeah, and the decontamination towel is important in this. Again, no pressure. The rinseless wash provides all the lubrication we need.
Are we decontaminating just to make the polishing step a little more pure, or why would we decontaminate without using iron remover?
Well, iron remover is not always necessary, but decontamination is before polishing. Because if we leave those contaminants on the surface, we can actually mar the paint with the polisher, because it's going to rip them out of there, but stay on the pad and just move them around. Not something we want to be doing. So if you're going to be polishing paint, always decontaminate first. Now, since we're using the rinseless as our lubrication, dunk your towel more often than not. And if it starts to dry on the surface, well, put a little more on. Use your keg, use your sprayer, use whatever you used to put it on there in the beginning.
Just to be safe, I'm re-dipping my towel quite often. I'm getting it nice and wet with the rinseless. I just want to give lubrication every chance it can to do what it does best.
Yeah.
With our rinseless wash. I know if all things are equal and you have a hose, Ivan, you still prefer rinseless over Incredible Suds even.
Yes.
Because of its lubricity.
Yeah.
From the wash process to the decontamination, you stand by rinseless wash as just having a lot of lubrication to provide a safe, foundation for all the work we're doing.
Exactly. Plus, as a professional detailer, soap is just a big waste of time. As a hobbyist, have fun with it. Have a bubble party, have a foam party, enjoy it. But as a professional detailer, use rinseless. It's a lot more profitable for you. So Nick, it's washed, it's decontaminated. We're about what, 5-6 minutes in?
I was gonna say, that did not take long.
No, now time to dry it.
No decon towel on the cloth top.
No, it's not gonna do anything there.
Yeah, our drying blanket actually works better when it's a little wet. We washed a few cars today.
Yeah.
And it's just a little primed. Does a really nice job soaking up the moisture. And why not? The towel drag.
Last vehicle we had in here was the same color, but it was a little on the taller side. Big SUV, so.
Is this the kind of vehicle that you would lift if you could?
No.
No, I mean when you're detailing, putting it on a...
Definitely. If you have a lift, this is a great one to put on the lift. Now, it's not a big deal if we don't get the car 100% dry. Just happens, rinseless wash is part of our polishing process too. So if there's a tiny bit of moisture on the vehicle, not a big deal.
That sounds like quite the efficiency hack.
Not a hack, just an efficiency step. Now, Nick's towel is very wet, and it'll still manage to dry the top. Unlike paint, you actually have to contact it, not just rub it across.
Yeah. Or you could just do one of these numbers. That's nice. Oh yeah. I don't know much about cloth tops, Ivan. I can tell when they're poorly maintained. This one just seems well maintained. I don't know if it's the beading that I saw earlier or the richness of the fabric, it's how dark it is, but it just seems like it's in good shape.
So Nick, next step is polishing. One question we get asked a lot, and we're gonna answer it right now. Can I use the red jeweling pad on a dual action machine? I have the red jeweling pad, and I have a 25mm stroke DA. We're gonna answer that question right now. Spoiler alert, the answer is yes. Start with a damp pad. I'm using rinseless wash to dampen the pad. Since it hasn't been used in a day or two, I'm putting an excessive amount. Just wanna make sure that there's no dust or anything in the pad. Run it against the surface of the pad washer. Spin the excess moisture out. While it's still turning, one spray of the gold standard, and we're ready to start polishing this Corvette. Before we start polishing the Corvette, take a look at the paint. You see any marring from the decontamination towel? There isn't, because the decontamination towel doesn't cause marring when you have proper lubrication, which we did. We had rinseless wash. Nice 50% overlap, 3 passes. Now you can go left, right, up, down, left, right, if that is how your mind works. If not, you can simply go in straight lines. It really doesn't matter, as long as you're getting it covered and you've covered it 3 times. Nick, since this vehicle is meant to be driven top down, we have this part here that we have to polish too.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
I was wondering what you were up to. Yeah, this is meant to be driven top down, isn't it, Ivan?
It sure is.
I'm always the guy who likes to polish and then leave the polish residue. Today, Ivan, I feel like polishing and wiping. I just want to see what it's all about. You know, this is your method. Can you talk about how we wipe, why we wipe?
So we're wiping with a rinseless dampened towel, and that's to emulsify the oils, the polishing oils, making them easier. Now, I'm gonna let it dry a little bit. I don't wanna be pushing water around. So I'm taking my time, letting it evaporate. Once it's evaporated, I take a dry towel and go over the surface. It's that simple. Now, the reason I don't polish the whole car and come back and wipe it off has nothing to do with the polish. You could polish it today and come back and wipe it off tomorrow if you wanted to. Wouldn't be a problem. But the reason I do this is to break up the tasks. So I'm polishing for a while using those muscles, and then I'm wiping off using a different set of muscles.
Never heard you explain it that way before, but once you said it that way, I'm like, okay.
And plus,
Spice it up a little bit.
you get to see the results.
That's rewarding. Now, what about the idea of a test spot? When would you do a test spot? When would you go right for the jeweling pad on the dual action? Or even the rotary for that matter. I mean,
Yeah.
there's a lot to unpack there.
Well, just looking at this paint, we knew it was super clean. It didn't need a lot of polishing. We don't want to be removing a lot of surface. And we want to answer your questions. One of the questions we get a lot is, can we finish a car with the red pad and the DA? Here's your answer, folks. Now, the other aspect of this is the owner of this car asked us to bring up the gloss, but didn't want us to polish it. He said, can you get the gloss up without doing a paint correction? Easy enough to do for us.
That's like the question Ivan loves to hear.
No, but we're doing an enhancement. We're enhancing it. We're making it look better. We're making it cleaner. We're making it glossier. But we're not removing a lot of clear coat. Because every time you polish, you're removing clear coat. And that's something that a lot of people still don't grasp, is that no detailer has ever removed a scratch. What they've done is remove the paint, be it single stage, or clear coat down to the depth of the scratch.
Well, I remember early on in my career that, you know, the customer had a Corvette. He's like, now it's fiberglass, you know.
Yes.
Will this work on that?
Yes. The paint is the same. It's the substrate that's different. The Subaru you have at home, it has steel body panels. The bumpers are plastic. Fiberglass is a plastic. The paint on them is the same. It's the substrate that's different. This is fiberglass. There are some cars we do in here that the hood and the doors might be aluminum, but the rest of the car is steel. It's a mixed match of things in this industry. There's plastic, there's fiberglass, there's aluminum, there's steel, there's all sorts of things.
And that's what's underneath.
Yeah, it's the paint we're working on.
Yes.
Now, one thing with fiberglass though is it doesn't dissipate heat like metal, meaning that if you heat this, it's going to stay hot a lot longer. So you don't want to be polishing aggressively to damage the paint underneath the clear coat, because fiberglass doesn't dissipate heat like that aluminum or steel panel. Those of you that know cars and stuff, you're probably looking at the reflection of this Corvette and going, what's that red thing in the background? Which do you prefer, this Corvette or that Corvette? Just a quick pass and look at this. That's the fender, and there's the door. So our red jeweling pad, you can see the difference that it's made. Just a quick, simple pass.
Ivan, when you're doing the rinseless wash damp and towel to wipe off, what is the magic sweet spot of letting Mother Nature dry the rinseless and then swooping in with your final wiping towel?
Good 75 to 80%. You want it almost dry.
But if I go right in with my second towel, it's too much work.
Yeah, it's a lot of work for nothing at all.
Yeah.
Another question we get asked a lot, can you polish paint protection film? Well, front bumper of the car is covered in paint protection film. And I just finished polishing.
And this is the polish and pad combo I'd recommend for that. Something incredibly non-aggressive that can still do a deep cleaning and add some gloss. Now, if folks are doing this process, they decide they want to get a scratch out. Should they speed up to 6 on the machine and put a lot of pressure on it, hoping that the red jeweling pad might outperform its advertised capabilities?
No. Slow down and just move a little slower across the scratch. Or best case scenario, use another pad. One actually designed for that. Put it another way, Nick. You could use this car when you move, but it might take you many, 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 many trips as opposed to renting a truck.
You wouldn't use this to move. You wouldn't use a red pad to do some defect removal. I get it. I get it. It can be done, but it can be a little dangerous. Trying to do too much.
Yeah, trying to carry a sofa in the back of the Corvette might not be the best idea.
Exactly. You know what might be the best idea is what we're doing, because this paint is insane.
Oh, it's beautiful.
I'm the guy who's usually going to put the red pad on the rotary, Ivan. How's it working on the DA? My mind is blown.
Red pad works great on all of them. Now, a shorter stroke machine, like a 15 millimeter or an 8 millimeter, that you may get a bit of micro marring from the red pad. But the long stroke is actually a lot smoother than a short stroke machine, giving you a better finish.
So the 25 is giving me a better finish than something that I would deem as like more beginner friendly and easier to use and safer somehow.
Yeah.
Like 25 just seems intimidating for a beginner in my head.
Yeah, ignore the number, actually try the product and you'll see. Next step, applying the wax. Now we could apply the wax by hand. It's a very effective way of doing it, but so is applying it by machine. And the machine actually allows you to spread it thinner. The thinner you spread it, the better it is.
Wait, I was down there cleaning the wheels and you blew my mind. We're not doing this by hand?
No. No, we
I thought
can't.
hand waxing a Corvette was about as American as, some apple pie.
It is, but time is also something you can never buy back.
And so this is faster than the hand application. Okay,
Much faster, yeah. So the same setup that we use for applying C6 adhesion promoter polish, we'll use for the wax. So a dry red pad on the little DA, and a DA of your choice. You can go to Harbor Freight, pick up a little DA for 20 bucks. It will actually do the job quite well. And then we simply turn the machine on.
What speed?
Medium.
Okay.
As long as you have backing plate rotation. Now this is way too thick. I want to spread that out. I want to get it as far as I can. So I'm priming the pad, which I've done. Now I can spread this further and further and further. Oh yeah, by the way, I'm, waxing the plastics.
If you're selling me on the idea that wax is therapeutic to install, and then you're using this noisy machine, why would I use a wax?
Well, grab your applicator and go. Do it by hand.
I'm playing devil's advocate. Why would someone apply this wax in the first place? Why would they want the wax on here?
More gloss, depth. So this car going to Cars and Coffee, everyone's gonna be going, ooh and ah. Because with the polishing we just did, we brought out a lot of gloss and depth. With the wax, we're gonna bring out even more gloss and depth. So that's why you want to wax. Now, of course, there's the therapeutic nature of sitting there, doing all the nice little circles, which Nick, you'll be doing on your side.
Okay, I will do it on my side.
As I'm going back over this, you can see a difference. What I'm doing is, I exhausted the amount of wax that was in my pad a little further down, so I'm picking it back up because I don't want to leave this thick layer of wax on here. Now that I've partially picked it up with this, now on Nick's case, you might want a little more in your applicator just to get it primed. Then
I have PTSD from too much.
Yeah,
at
but
one
you're
point.
gonna do the same thing that I did here.
So over apply it and then spread it out?
Yeah.
How's that?
Oh, that's good. Now, put your hand a little further in the applicator so you're not using your fingertips, you're using your whole finger.
Oh, okay.
So you want to keep it flat.
Like this?
Yeah.
Yep.
There you go.
Oh, that's flat, that's different.
Yes.
Okay, is that how you apply it all the time or just with the wax? It only took me about 200 cars. Cool.
Oh, that's how I always use that applicator, Nick.
I'm more into my fingers.
Yeah, no. Where I start applying with the pad like I did there, I like to go back over it a few seconds later just to pick up the excess, and then I can spread it a little further. Very important, you don't want to be using a long stroke machine. Up to an 8mm or 9mm, you're fine. Past that, you're overtaxing the wax and it'll make it very difficult to remove. Those of you saying you don't like wax because it's too much like work, well, let me show you something here. I'm actually going to show Nick something. This is Nick's second time applying wax, so he doesn't have a lot of experience with it.
No.
On this hood, he's still a little too thick in terms of the wax application, so what I'm going to do is help him out. And lift off that excess using the pad. So when you're done, this is what it should look like.
Oh, as opposed to the milky white I have on the other side.
Well, it's gonna stay milky white as well. Milky white is good, but you have too thick of a milky white.
Got it.
So you've got 35% like whipping cream as opposed to skim milk.
Okay, and you noticed that because that's where I started?
That's where you started, but just the way you're struggling, and you have to learn from experience. So wiping off, you'll also learn from experience. But the more you can spread the wax, the better it is for you, the better it is for the wax, and the better it is for the paint.
What's a good amount of time to wait between applying the wax and leveling it or removing it?
For myself, if I'm doing a vehicle myself, I'll go around the vehicle. By the time I've applied all the way around, it's time to remove all the way around. But you can wait, I'd say give it a good half hour. If you want to wait longer than that, you can actually. Trying to wipe it off too soon, you end up streaky and messy.
Oh, so too soon is a problem?
Yes.
Okay.
Nick, it's time to wipe off. So give it a try where you laid it on, maybe a little thicker there.
So I'm noticing that it looks like almost like these little high spots. I've done my wipe, right?
Yeah.
No real pressure, but I'm seeing little spots.
Right.
That I'm struggling with. I tried not to lay this on thick, Ivan. I'm really struggling. Like, the person at home might not know what to do now.
Well, at this point, just wipe it. That's
Okay.
all. That's all you can do. And you'll learn over time how to get it thinner. People think wax is the easiest product to apply in a vehicle. It isn't. A coating is easy to apply. A
Yes.
wax takes more skill.
Yes, and right here where you went over it with the dual action, that actually came off super easy.
Yeah.
But right here on this front fender, I feel like I just don't want to rub too hard. But actually, with time, it's going slow and nice. Okay, it's moving.
Yeah. Now, Nick, if you're struggling removing the wax, one thing you can do is use a short nap towel.
Yep, I went from a plush buffing towel to a short nap towel. It's wiping off way better.
Yeah.
Again, no one said wax was going to be easy. No one said that the advancements in technology happened for no reason. What I mean is, something like ceramic gloss is so much easier, but the glow, the meditative aspect, the filling of the scratches, they're not the same, are they, Ivan?
No, it's something, wax is wax. You can't replicate wax, unfortunately. It's just something that is there. The closest we've been able to get to that freshly waxed look is actually our A3 stack. And in all honesty, it's probably easier to do the A3 stack. But no, some people really like wax. I like wax as well. Now, I applied it with the machine just to show you, but I like the meditative aspect of applying a wax.
If they're struggling to wipe this off, should they put a little rinseless wash on their towel? I know they should obviously err on the side of less product, but let's say they're in a pinch. Is there anything they can put on their towel to kind of cut through some of that wax residue without diminishing the wax?
Yeah, a rinseless dampened towel will do a good job for that. It is going to diminish the wax just a little bit, but not dramatically.
How much pressure should I be using on my towel to wipe off the wax?
The same as you'd use to use your decontamination towel.
So no pressure applies here too. That's the Ivan method.
Yeah. If you need pressure, there's something wrong. You risk scratching your paint.
Right, we don't want that.
But look at that glow.
Oh, it's glowing. It's hard to explain the It's hard to explain a glow, kind of like it's hard to explain why finishing with a rotary is so nice.
Yeah.
It's like the eye knows, but the words
Can't describe it.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, I like to use a short nap towel first, and then just quickly go over it, just like we do with coatings. With a plush towel, just as an insurance wipe. Now, Nick, you're a window cleaning aficionado.
Yes, sir.
Another use for wax, you have a window that's very difficult to clean. Apply wax to it, let it sit, wipe the wax off, the window will be clean.
That's an old school trick, right?
Yeah, it sure is.
Is wax safe on interior windshield?
On interior windows, not really. It's not bad, but you have a risk of fogging. If fogging is something that happens a lot in your area, I would stay away from waxing the windows inside, but outside, not a problem. Nick, round 2 for wax for you. Was it better this time?
It was better this time. I used less. I think I would love to try the dual action polisher sander method.
Yep.
Because I'm still seeing a couple of spots where I put too much on, and I thought I was gonna go scant this time.
Yeah.
You watched me apply. So what did I do when I was applying too much?
So just too much on your applicator and not trying to spread it out too far. So as soon as you met a little bit of resistance, you put more on your applicator, which instead you should go back to where you were get a little more off of that section and spread it out further.
Okay, so use that as like a reservoir pile to like,
Yeah.
Okay. All I know is I'm looking in the lights and it is shimmering and it is glossy. I can't wait to see this thing in direct sunlight.
Yeah.
I know it's gonna turn some heads, Ivan.
No, it's a beautiful car. The black was nice when we got it here. We thought, what are we gonna do to this car? We can't improve it. We improved it a lot. But still, you know, when it goes to Cars and Coffee this weekend, it's gonna be the talk of the town.
It absolutely will be. If you want another vehicle in your life that probably is gonna be the talk of the town, and of course, knowing us, we're gonna teach you all about how to detail it. Ivan, that video is right here.